I guess the majority of my day is typically spent helping leaders get better use of technology and data and helping them deliver change at pace, but also managing risk in a more effective way. I've been somewhat taken aback by the responses that I've seen from leaders over the last 2 or 3 weeks in a completely positive way. Now, businesses are rightfully so focused on people, continuity of service, solvency, and in support of this, they've moved at breakneck speed to implement new tech, changes in ways of working in a matter of weeks. And those teams at the centre should be applauded for the way in which they've gone about doing that, responded, and risen to the challenges that are in front of them. If you think about traditionally how that change would have been managed, it probably would have been taken and delivered over a period of months, if not years, supported by a vast amount of business cases, project steering committees, and reviews of implementation. All of that went out the window in the last couple of weeks. And it's worth saying that for many businesses, it's the middle management layer that will either make or break a firm during this period. It's those middle managers that are effectively the glue that will link the strategy that's been set by the partners of the firms or the managing directors and translate that into the operational practices. And so for me, there's probably 2 main areas of focus, or perhaps 2 sides of the coin, as Richard alluded to. It's the cyber risk on one side, or technology risk, but there's also the opportunity that we've got in front of us. So if I start with cyber risk, it could be perhaps quite easy for me to focus on technology when it comes to cyber, but actually for me, it's all about taking a people-first strategy. That's crucial. So we just talked that through. I guess in the UK, we've literally had millions of our workforce now shifting to working at home for the very first time. Many people are going to be living, working in accommodation alongside their partners who are also working in that environment. They've got kids who are going to be homeschooling, and they may have partners who are at the risk of losing jobs or experiencing health issues or financial difficulty. Now, it's this uncertainty that brings anxiety, brings worry and nervousness that impacts mental health. And when it comes to cybercrime, it's this fear, emotion, rapid pace of change that cyber criminals will be preying on, I guess now and in the future. So I guess as business leaders, what are the key risks that I would encourage you to focus on and consider in the short to medium term? Unsurprisingly, for me, it's about people first. So during this time, individuals may be low and distracted, and cyber criminals would be targeting those individuals with emails, text campaigns designed to play on their emotions. The ones that send you a link for clicking on a campaign that's relating to the NHS, or a government text that says you're entitled to £1,000 next week. Vendors are reporting a 20-fold increase in phishing emails. And I guess as leaders, how are you training your staff to be on the lookout for these things and so that you don't compromise your environment? I think the second thing, or second area of risk that I consider you look at, was changes in the way that you host and manage data. And that plays into some of the poll at the start of this session. Many businesses have had to quickly implement new tech. Overnight, we now use Zoom, Teams, Google Docs, and a variety of other technologies. And we now move from beyond the corporate firewall. And to what extent do you now know where your data is? You might think right now you don't hold valuable data, but if you think about the types of transactions and work you advise on, that could be restructuring, HR, especially in the current climate. How happy would your clients be if this data is leaked and made public? The third thing for me then, from a cyber risk perspective, is introduction of new technologies and ways of working. So with new tech, have we introduced new vulnerabilities that cyber criminal could exploit? That new document management system perhaps you introduced recently, now that we've moved to remote working, has that been exposed? Do your firm employees have the ability to access that data on their laptops, their personal laptops, and do non-firm-wide employees suddenly have access to that? And for me, the fourth, and probably one of the most critical things that's often overlooked, is critical third parties. Now is perhaps the time to look at your critical third parties. What if they go insolvent, or if they're exposed to a cyber attack due to their new ways of working? How do you understand that impact? How do you respond to that so it minimises any implications to you and your business and also your customers? And I guess whilst change brings risk, I'm a firm believer that it also brings opportunity. How many times have we put something off because we told ourselves that we're too busy? More often than not, it's actually because we don't want to do it. I think right now, due to COVID-19, we have no choice but to do things somewhat differently. And in many ways, that involves being or becoming a digital business. And for me, when it comes to the opportunity, there's probably some things for all of us to think about. I suppose the first area would be collaboration and engagement. So think about that middle manager, the glue that holds the firm together. They're now being asked to work in a very different way. How can you better use tools at your disposal to help collaboration and engagement across the business? Opportunity number 2, so I guess it's productivity and efficiency. How many paper-based forms do you currently have in your business? How much time do you lose chasing around trying to find those forms? Could digital tools prevent this and help to reduce cost and increase efficiency? And then for me, the thing that's probably the most important is your customer experience. I guess in the space of the last 3 or 4 weeks, society norms, expectations have shifted quite significantly. We've gone from being almost presenteeism within an office to working online and digitally. That's the new norm. And so there's a real opportunity for businesses to reassess how they engage with their customers and how they support them using technology. So I guess I'm going to finish on one simple note. I think we've proved as leaders that when change is needed, it can happen at rapid pace. I'd say that business leaders should look at using this time wisely and consider the options of how technology could enable their business, but also think about the risk that those technologies may introduce.